talking about, do you have a loving relationship with you? And, I find sometimes you can ask a person that question and they sort of say, oh, of course, but, or
yeah. But
yes, of course I love myself. And then further on in the conversation, they might say, oh, well, I'm terrible at this and I'm so angry with myself because of that. And I suck about this and this. That's not being loving.
Breather.
Yes. This is about how is the overarching relationship with you with you, because outer relationships are a reflection of how our inner relationship is.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear Deb. Welcome, listeners. How are you, Deb?
Welcome. I am fantastic, thank you.
Awesome. That's the bestest way to be. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations. I love doing these with you.
It flows.
It just flows. And we always talk about such fun, awesome topics. And I think we've explained this before to our listeners that when we start these and hit record, we know a title because we've got a list of titles that we work through, but we have no idea what's going to come up and what stories and whether Deb will snort and whether Moira will giggle. Or
I had to laugh because when I said they flow, I'm like, oh, today's not going to flow. Just put it at the end.
Be careful. Be careful what you say.
Yeah.
But before we get into this topic today, I'm really looking forward to this conversation because this is such an important piece, I think, for everybody, regardless of where you're at in your own evolution, is an important question to check in with and tell yourself the truth about. But before we get into that, we like to check in with ourselves on a mental, emotional, spiritual level and rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is where you're feeling really poised, calm, peaceful, zen. And 10 is where you're feeling like OMG on steroids. I don't know where it was up or down. It's so stuck. Yes, the deer in the headlights, all that kind of fun stuff, or not so fun. And
fun or not fun.
We all move up and down the scale. And so what we're going to do is we're inviting you to just check in and make a wee note of where you're at. And we're going to do the same. And then we encourage you to check in when we do the midway check ad break and just see if it's moved up or down. And then again, at the end, we're going to check in ourselves. And the thing is just have awareness. Whenever we do these kind of awareness check-ins, it's one of the best ways to navigate and choose and be comforting and kind to yourself. I explain it differently every time. I know you do too.
Both do. Yeah. I think the key is to, if you were a certain number, be okay with that. Like, yes, just go, and so it's just acknowledging it. Don't compare yourself to our numbers or anyone else's and go, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that explains it. That's all it is. It's just an awareness. It's just an awareness tool to go, oh, not to blame something, go, oh, that's the reason why. It's just an awareness. That's all it is.
It's a self-management tool. And it to come from a space of compassion, always, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah. So which can be easily said than done.
Yes, that's very true.
But that's what our podcasts are here for.
That's
I'm
right.
going to say I'm a 1.
Well done.
I'm definitely going to say I'm a 1. But this topic is a goodie.
This is a goodie, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to put myself at a 1.5. I love this topic. I've been working through a bunch of stuff of late myself and had some areas called up upon in this area. And I'm feeling like in a really good place, but I'm also very aware of the journey that got me to this situation or where I'm at now. So we're talking about, do you have a loving relationship with you? And I find sometimes you can ask a person that question and they sort of say, oh, of course, but, or
but
yes, of course I love myself. And then further on in the conversation, they might say, oh, well, I'm terrible at this and I'm so angry with myself because of that. And I suck about this and this. That's not being loving.
Breather.
Yes. This is about how is the overarching relationship with you with you, because outer relationships are a reflection of how our inner relationship is. So if you have conflict outside of conflict in an external relationship, it's time to look inside and say, how's my relationship with me? Do I need to form boundaries? Do I need to say yes over here and no over there and vice versa? Right? So are you giving yourself space and time to reflect upon the awesome feedback mechanism that can happen when we're really conscious about how we're relating with others, with ourselves, with situations, projects, etc. So Deb, do you have a loving relationship with you?
I would love to say yes, absolutely, 100%. The answer is no. Because I have thoughts, but I just this here, do you have a loving relationship with you? I went into, wow, imagine if you could teach this to children, because children, preschool, under 5, teaching them this is so powerful, and they do have this with themselves.
They do.
And then we do teach this to the under 5s, majority, but then as they get older, they start getting knocks.
Yes.
And they start attaching those things personally. Oh, mum yelled at me, so now she doesn't love me.
Yeah.
No, mum yelled at you because she stubbed her toe and it was the finale and you haven't eaten your frickin' peas. Like, that's why she yelled at you.
But mum stubbed her toe and maybe didn't turn around and say, hey, I just stubbed my toe.
That's right. And I think, and so we do have that at a young age, but we listen to others, I don't say stories or others' perceptions or whatever's going on, and we can attach to that.
Yeah. And then we take it personally, or we allow somebody else's filter or mindset to indoctrinate how we see it.
Yeah.
Because I can think of times where, as a kid, that if I was a real innocent kid, I took things very much face value. But then if somebody came and said, oh, well, that happened because this person's really angry at you, or they're telling you that you're not good enough, or you're stupid, or I'd be like, wow, really? And then, right there.
Sounds like me, like, oh, I didn't pick that up.
Yeah,
How did you
exactly.
pick that up? I didn't see that. I just thought they were just voicing their opinion like I would. Like, duh. Yeah. But that's a great example. And it is that, there was, I remember seeing a meme at Kids Don't Know Colour, and it had a little dark child and a little pale child together, and it said, kids don't recognise colour. It's us. It was something like us adults put our stories on, and I went, oh, wow, you're actually right there. That's from that young age. And then randomly another one came up, and it had a dark child and a pale child in the supermarket, and one of them had said, look, here's my twin sister, and they both were wearing the same dress. It was like from Frozen or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, that's so cute. The kid kid didn't see color. Well, actually, kid didn't even see that this kid had, one child had dark hair and one had light hair. One was taller than the other, one was shorter than the other,
But
one was
the
wider
same
than
dress.
the other. I know. And they went, look, we're twins. And I remember just looking at that going, you're actually right. We do attach to those stories as we get older and we start putting our perceptions or protections.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we go, it's a protection,
mm-hmm.
our perceptions onto us. And that is just a beautiful, thing of, do we have a loving relationship with you? As I love me, I love all of everybody else. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
You actually, but in reality, you can't love all of everybody, because you do have these stories, and there's a lot to work through of stories that have attached to you to work to get to that evolution, if you can say evolution, about yourself. I would love to say I have a loving relationship with me, but there's and I'm going to say but there's moments that I just go, like yesterday I noticed a couple of dimples on my bum and I went, oh, where did they come from? I've never noticed those.
Right.
I've never noticed those. Now, they've probably been there if I don't know, but I just happened to notice and went, oh, I've got to get rid of those. So at that moment, am I having a loving relationship with myself? Absolutely not.
Right.
And I don't know how long those dimples have been there for. I was a bit mortified that I'd found them. And then now, am I okay about it? They're dimples. Am I going to do something about it? Probably not. Let's just get clear about this. I'm just going to know there's 2 dimples there, and maybe in a month or longer there's going to be another 2. I don't know, but at that moment I did not have a loving relationship with myself, and that's how quickly it can hit you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe you can have one 100% of the time, but you can definitely be aware, and that's that awareness, like making a note of, are you a 0 or are you a 10? Just being aware.
Absolutely. But
and that's a loving relationship on its own.
It is, but I think too that even when we look at something like I might look in the mirror and I've just had a birthday, and so I'm like, oh my God, there's lots more gray hair. Actually, I did say this the other day. I was like, there is a lot more gray hair in here.
Actually, you got on the podcast this morning, you said it's windy outside, and you mentioned you were here. You never mentioned the grey or anything, but it's windy outside.
That's right.
And I had to giggle because I went, I haven't even noticed it. But yeah.
Where I'm coming from, and then because the other part that I was thinking of is like, yeah, there's a double chin there too.
Yes. We both practice holding our heads like, oh no, it's just me. It's just me who's holding my head like, oh yes.
It's just right so that you can't see that part.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I was thinking about this idea of having a loving relationship with you with you. Can you still have a loving relationship even if you look in the mirror and you think, oh, there's a double chin, or oh, there's a dimple there, or oh, there's extra gray hair? I think that it is possible to lovingly accept all of that, but from a perspective of, oh, you humans. It's like, oh, look, there you are labeling aspects of your body, and that's okay. I think we all do that to one degree or another.
Yeah.
But can you just be okay with that?
Yeah, well, I think that awareness is enough to go down another level of, oh, okay, 2 dimples. Oh, it's interesting. Am I going to lose sleep over it? No. Am I going to talk about it on my podcast? Absolutely. Am I going to, am I okay with it? I would say I'm not okay with it, but in reality, I'm okay with it, because if I was really concerned about it, I'd do something about it. Then
you would do something. And that's the key piece. That's the key piece. Because you see, and so to go back to my example about my gray hair, I know that I could dye my hair if it really bothered me. It doesn't really.
And it doesn't bother me. If it bothered me, I would say something.
I know you would.
Even though we're podcasts, but we would. I would. Say, Moira,
but you see,
hairdo of yours.
The thing
actually,
is,
we did talk about your hair.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, no,
we did. I was like, yeah.
And we talked about it on your email thing too. Oh, whoops. Okay, distraction. I'll be quiet. Yeah, carry on.
I think the thing, this is about being a bit of a detective though on yourself. because there's a myriad of things happening when you just get that initial awareness. It's a wee bit like your dimples too. So you see something, you kind of go, oh, number one, how long has that been there? And am I okay with it? Well, actually, no, I'm not okay with it. Okay. But can you just be into a place of acceptance, knowing that if it bothered you enough, you would do something? Like I'm saying.
I think that's the thing. Yeah. Do I have the energy? Is it so important for me to deal with those dimples, find out why they came there, how long they've been there for, what's truly going on, Is it important? No. If I got another 2 dimples in a day.
Oh, well, then maybe that would be a little cause for alarm.
That would be it. Yeah, that would be, let's go down that human behavior aspect and go why or how or whatever.
But even that is a really good example of you having a loving relationship with yourself, right? Because you're saying that if it suddenly sprung up that there's 2 more of these and you go, whoa, okay, I need to take some.
Just as well, this is a podcast, I'm not lifting my skirt, having a look at my 2 dimples. But actually, you're right. You've hit the nail on the head there, because seeing it, that's a loving relationship. So being aware of your body, doing something about it is another loving relationship. Doing nothing about it and just parking it is another way of having a loving relationship with yourself. Yeah. So dimples or no dimples, I'm still having that loving relationship. I'm just not fixing it, repairing it, digging into what it is, but I've actually acknowledged it. And I think for you, I was going to say flyaway here, because it wasn't actually great. We talked about this morning, your flyaway
my flyaway here.
Yeah, because it'd been windy outside. But that, you commented on it, and it was like, okay, yeah, giggle, we giggled. That's right. We carried on. Yeah. And that's not, because the words you say to yourself are really important.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Because even though you say it to yourself or you say it inside your head, your soul hears it.
That has such power. In fact, it has even more power than
too much power. Yeah, because you're holding it in. But when you said that, because I listen to words, I listen to what people say, apart from Moira on a podcast. Just joking. But I do listen to people's words and how they say them when I'm having a conversation. But when you said that, I didn't hear a trigger or anything about it, because I'm listening for triggers so that I can help people. It's definitely something I do. I listen to the breathing, I listen to everything, what they're saying, how they're saying it, But when you said that, I heard neutral. I just heard that. And so that's like an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I heard neutrality in it. It's like, oh yeah, I've got this flyaway here. We've got wind outside. It's very windy outside and fixed it here. And I just laughed about it. And that was it. Done. So there's an awareness of it, but not talking down about myself because I have really bad flyaway here.
Precisely.
Whatever. And I think that is such a loving relationship with yourself right there and then, of just, I'm going to say that word acknowledging it. It just keeps coming up. It's acknowledging it.
Owning what's there. Yeah. Noticing it, acknowledging it. But I love what you just said, because I do that too in listening. You and I are both in the listening game, but we're not just listening to the words. We're listening. I'm reading people's energy. I'm getting a sense of where are you coming from. And so, like you said, if there was a sense of shame or a sense of beating myself up.
I would have picked that up. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have picked it up. But this is the biggest piece in it, is that it's one thing to be aware of what's happening with your hair, or your body, or anything about your physicality or who you are, or your worthiness. But it's one thing to just say, this is what's happening, or this is what I notice, this is what I see, this is what I feel. That's just awareness. But if there's then a story attached to it, like, oh, it's because of this.
Repeated.
Yes,
repeated story. I'm just going to throw that word in there. Yeah.
But I don't know about you, but I will immediately.
Is that victim?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, I would see that as a victim.
Yeah. Poor me. My friend did this to me. Poor me. My brother said this about me. Poor me. My partner did this. Poor me. Poor me. And to get the people on board of that. So that's definitely, so that's not, if you're playing victim, that is not a loving relationship with yourself.
Certainly isn't. That's definitely moved right out of the loving relationship. But, it's also when you're getting into poor me, poor me, poor me, you're abdicating responsibility, because everything about a loving relationship with you is your choice and you're making. We're all.
Well, whenever you're sitting in that pointy finger, what do they say? You point.
Yeah, pointing one finger at you. There's three pointing back at me.
There's 3 pointing. Yeah, I remember Mum used to always say that. I'd be like, "Shut up." In my head, I'd say "shut up." I'd never say "shut up" to my mother.
No.
I'd have that clipped across my ears. But that's exactly it. It's that whole, when you're pointing and you're playing victim. You've done this and you've done this and you've done this. Well, guess what? There's 3 things coming back at you right now.
But that's actually a testament and a further underlining of what I said at the beginning of our conversation today about it's the reflection in what we see in other people. Right? So if you see something in another person of like, oh, that drives me crazy when that person says or does that.
Yeah.
So there's the finger coming out. That person's driving me crazy. Wait, okay, you got to let them off the hook now, because there's something for you to go down inside you and say, where is it in me? There's something because you just got triggered. Doesn't mean it's the specific words or the behavior, but something just got
There's
triggered.
something bigger bubbling away here.
And it's a gift. If we choose, so if we had a loving relationship with ourselves, we'd go, and you've done this before. I love how you do this. You kind of go, oh, that's interesting. What's going on under here?
Do, which I could have done with my 2 dimples.
Yes,
but I went, oh yeah, there's 2. Like, they're not on the middle of my forehead. So right. they can be fine sitting there. Yep. But that's, you do, you celebrate those. Oh, here's a goodie. What am I going to unpack?
Yeah. That reminds me, I think I've talked about this before on previous episodes, about one of my favorite Abraham Hicks quotes that says,
here she goes, she's going to quote this, and it's in this particular book, and it's a red coloured page, and it's this 3/4 of the way down, because Moira does that.
That's not where this one came from, because it was
see, there you go.
It was a thing. It was a thing. But the sort of paraphrasing it basically said that we all need to say out loud that I've just figured out that my happiness is my responsibility. So now go out and tell everybody who will listen, my happiness is my responsibility. So you're off the hook.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Right? And so that's when somebody's going, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me, they've forgotten, because they're saying that person's behavior is undermined my happiness. I can't be happy because that person, well, you just ascribed responsibility to that person's behavior or interaction with you. And it's like, nope, gotta let them off the hook.
Will Smith did a thing about his wife, and I can't remember what it said. It was something about, it's not my responsibility to make her happy.
Right.
It was something about that, which I did have to giggle after what just recently happened with him. I'm like, okay, so you perhaps contradicted a little bit there, but that's okay. That was a saying.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But that's exactly it. So it's not what people say, it's how you react.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that is that whole, do you have a loving relationship with yourself? Moira and I talked a little bit, and I know Tony Robbins says it, what's it? Not a worthy opponent.
Right. Yes.
And that's that whole thing. It's like, do you have a loving relationship with yourself? Absolutely, because I'm not going to get involved in this backwards and forwards tennis match. That's no one's going to hear.
Yeah.
We call them keyboard warriors. I had a call with a guy. When was that call? I don't know, Saturday, I think, had a call with a gentleman who was being slammed on social media.
Okay.
And he said, I kept going back and I kept going back to them and they just weren't getting any reasoning with me and they weren't seeing my way. And I was trying to explain this.
Oh,
and
dear.
This. And I'm like, and how did it go? He goes, well, I shut my social media accounts down.
Good.
And I went, oh, did you? And he goes, yep, I shut all my business social media accounts down. I just had to shut it all down. I said, how long have they been shut for? He goes, 5 weeks. I'm like, okay, so you're still stirring on this for 5 weeks. Let's deal with this. In fact, we're talking today, so that'll be an interesting one. But that he wanted to get his point across. So that's not a loving relationship with him. He was really out to protect his business when these people were going this, and this.
Right.
And it wasn't, and it was just everything was going against him.
Right.
He tried this angle, He's very creative when he was telling me the things he was doing.
Right.
But he was just, and so in the end, it would have been wiser for him just to go, they're not my people. They will never buy from me. Let's just block and move on. And it's totally okay to block. And you can do that in real life.
You do.
Just saying you don't do it on social media. Do it to family, blood, and other. You can just block and spray and walk away is what we call in New Zealand, because we have the spray thing that you spray on the decking on your porch, and then
clean it.
Yeah, you spray and then you walk away and it just does its own thing. So that's what we call it. Spray and walk away.
That's a good.
So that's exactly it. A great analogy. Yeah.
It is. It's a perfect analogy. But that is such an important piece, that tussle, that thing of, I need you to see. Well, and this is a situation that I've just come through, where a conversation is going back and forth. And the viewpoint is, I have mine and this other person has their viewpoint. And
you're never going to get.
Never going to. And so it is actually not my responsibility to make somebody else think or believe the same way as me.
Yeah.
But if it's coming back to me, somebody saying, well, you are wrong and you shouldn't use those kind of words and that's not okay and this is how it really was, that then says to me, you just need to move out a few circles away from me, right?
Yeah, totally. And until it's right.
Exactly. Until it's right, because that's back to that Abraham Hicks quote. My responsibility, my happiness is my responsibility. And so if somebody or something is coming at me with an agenda that derails my happiness or attacks me or tells me I'm wrong or there's something that I need to fix, quotation marks, then you can't be in my bubble.
Yeah, and I think that also falls down to your PEMS as well. How you handle that is depending on what you've. So PEMS is physical,
emotional,
emotional, mental, and your spiritual.
Yeah.
And if there's any wobbles or any lifting of the wallpaper and any of that sort of stuff, that's where they can get into the cracks, and if you've had lack of sleep and someone says something, it can make you react. Or if you've just had an argument with somebody and then 2 minutes later someone else, you're walking away and someone says the same thing again, you will react differently. It is down to these things. And whoa, that can change at any time. So that's going from a 0 to a 10. Yeah.
It's going from a 0 to a 10, but when you have a loving relationship, you can actually distance yourself and go, oh, there's a minefield over here. I'm going to just say thank you, but I'm going to choose to walk this way on solid ground for me that feels right for me. That is what a loving relationship is. And you're actually doing the best for them too.
Yeah, but and at any time you can just turn around and go back. Like, this is all down to you, what you want in the end anyway. Yeah.
What you want in the end. But you see, the other piece in all of this too is that by creating a wee bit of space, a little bit of maybe even just a hand over your heart and take a deep breath, because it's really important in any of this kind of relating to be present, be calm, and choose what is your reaction rather than get triggered and go bleh. And then, that's that two things charging at each other. You're never going to never going to resolve anything anyways. Things will get said that aren't really going to help.
But it can go from 0 to 100. I was just thinking, so as I'm podcasting here, by the way, I'm letting one dog in one door, one dog out the other door, letting one dog in who's falling by my feet. It's driving me insane as I'm podcasting. But I just went, my little dog, Finn, that's it. He has a loving relationship with himself.
He does. Yeah.
He does not care what you think of him.
Nope.
If you ignore him, he's going to do his own thing. If you dot on him, he's going to do his own thing. He is so got a loving relationship. He lives in the present. You tell him off and he just goes, okay. And he'll carry on doing whatever he wants when he wants. And he is so, and I call him my little present child because he just lives in the present. Because he can be going 100 miles an hour and then suddenly he'll just lie down, go to the floor and sleep for 5 minutes. And we'll be like, we were just playing, and I'll be still having the toy in my hand.
Right.
And then he'll just
like, I'm off. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm tired. Did I not tell you that? Did you miss the memo? And he truly has a loving relationship with him.
Right.
He lives in his bubble. You are there to serve him, and if you're not serving him, he'll do his own thing. Like, and that, like, he's totally a gift.
The wisdom from the puppy.
When we take him to the dog parks, they're like, oh my God, look at that dog. He's just been told off and he just goes, okay, and carries on doing his own thing or whatever. And I just said, he's our presence. He just lives in the present moment, every breath. And that's a true shining of that, you know. He has no stories.
It's a wee bit like my little princess, my cat. She's like that too. You know, if you tell her off, she'll kind of go, okay, but now can I have a treat? And then she'll go for a slap.
And then she'll flash her tail across your screen again.
Yes, that's right. Or she'll just say, no, you know, actually she just recently has taken to lying on the floor beside my chair. And every so often, if she wants some interaction, she'll tell me. But otherwise, she's just going to go to sleep.
Isn't that perfect? Isn't that exactly? Yeah, she's totally got that loving relationship.
She really does. But it's really fun that we were bringing our pets into this conversation, into this podcast episode, is that those are beautiful examples of having loving relationships with them. They have that, but they're teaching us that. They're teaching us that it's so much easier to just stay present and not only stay present, but to also ask for what you need, inform people, this is what I need. And some people are available to do that and others aren't. And that's okay too. Can you be okay with that?
We use the word boundaries. And I say that to me and people go, oh, my boundaries are broken. And I really hate the word boundaries. It makes me cringe. My boundaries are broken and this person overstepped them. And I even know I say boundaries. But, you know, that's
an often used term for sure.
Yeah, it is, definitely. But having that loving relationship with you, you know, and I'm going to say Finn has no boundaries. I'm sure he does. He will, if there's a big dog, he'll just decide if he's going to go up or not. You know, he does have those boundaries. But being okay with whatever you do and not doing, is that guilt and shame in that. Okay, I did this. I possibly wasn't the wisest thing to do. I stuffed up. I learned this. I've got this. I'm now broken financially because of this or whatever. But I can still love myself because I'm still here alive to tell the tale.
Right.
And I think that's the thing, is be grateful for those little whoopsies, whatever happens to you, lessons, experiences, whatever, boundaries that you drop, whatever you want to label them at, but actually just go, okay, this is actually on the way, not in the way. So the flow down the stream instead of trying to swim upstream.
Absolutely. But you know, the thing about the people saying, oh, this person overstepped my boundaries, or the something I've always said is we educate people how to treat us.
Yeah.
And so if somebody is being disrespectful or stepping over your boundaries or making you feel just off, like you don't like that person being in your space, you created it. And that is not about saying, well, you're wrong, or you should be ashamed of yourself, you should feel guilty. It's like, no. It's the reason I like to say that is because if I really take ownership for, I educate people how to treat me, and that starts to derail, then I go, wait, okay, now I uncreate whatever that is, because I only have loving, uplifting, positive, good, healthy relationships. And so then that person can come back and have a relationship with me if those pieces are in place. And if they're not, that's okay too. They're just not my people anymore.
Yeah, I think when we go down this path, we can go on a massive tangent on here about this loving relationship. But I think what I was going to say is boundaries, yes, and we watch other people. But if you have the first, was it 3 months of a relationship, they call it the honeymoon period.
Honeymoon phase,
when you don't burp, fart, breathe wrong, snore, any of those things in the first 3 months of a relationship.
Yep.
But then after 3 months, you start letting the guard down, peeing with the toilet door open or whatever. Any of these things, probably some people have still been married for how many years and don't pee with the toilet door open, but just, some do, some don't. But this is all part of having that loving relationship with you. And if you can start what you would like to continue with and be okay with that, then don't sit on that honeymoon phase. If you have an urge to, or you can't burp, a burp's coming and you want to do it in front of someone, then you do it. That's all there is to it. That's okay. But be okay with your burp.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about burping.
But
actually loving that. Okay. No, I did that. And that's I did that, and excuse me, carry on. Don't go, oh my God, I can't believe I burped. Because I can tell you a story about me burping one time. I mean, and I'm going to say it. One time I was introducing a very public speaker, Dr. John DeMartini, at a massive event. And it was the first time they had lapel mic'd me up. And I usually have a handheld when I introduce, hand it to John, get off the stage. Fine, easy as that. Or I stand up there, then he comes on, That's fine. So he came on, I was talking to him, about to go off, and he was going to say something. So I leant my head to the side because he was on my right hand side. I leant my head to the side and let out a little soft burp. Now, that's where my lapel mic was. So that burp, was I having a love relationship for myself at that time? I just wanted the whole world to swallow me up. At that time, my burp escalated way bigger because I turned towards my mic. I literally went like a burp that went long and all through the whole sound
reverberated. Oh my gosh.
500 something people. And I just didn't know what to do at that time. And I just turned around to John. I said, excuse me. And then just carried on talking and then just kept talking, and he just phoned. And then I said, okay, I'm off now. And I walked off the stage, and was I having a loving relationship with myself? I felt natural enough to burp. It was coming out. It was going to come out. I thought I'll do it discreetly while he's talking in case I go to talk and it comes out, and it just skyrocketed. But not one person said to me, I came off stage and I said, oh my God, did you hear that burp? And someone went, oh yeah. They weren't even mortified that. For me, I was mortified. I was that was the last time I'm ever going to present. I'm never going to wear a lapel mic again. I blamed the lapel mic, And I had a whole lot of stories by the time I hit the back of the room. And they're like, oh yeah. And the people were just like, it's no biggie. I'm like, but there's 500 people here. And I just burped and echoed, and everyone laughed, and they're like, yeah, and? But nobody talked about it. And it was a loving relationship that I had with myself that was beating myself. And I just wanted someone to pretty much say to me, that was disgusting, Deborah, I can't believe you did that. But nobody did. They're like, you're no biggie. And I was like, oh, but that's a biggie. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. And I still think it's a biggie, but no one bought into my drama. They're like, no.
Which is good. Yeah. But that's a fascinating story, because I can think of times like that too, because it's like we want.
Well, you burped into the lapel mic.
Well, I haven't done that. But it's that thing of looking for, our inner critic is beating us up, like, oh, that's a terrible thing, what a dreadful thing to do. And so we're looking for confirmation. And then when we can't get it, it's kind of like,
I wasn't getting anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. I wanted to fall off the stage, so I had something like I literally wanted the trap door to open and pretend it never happened.
Right.
Never.
Right.
No.
Right.
But people were graceful, and it was me just going, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe I did that. Da, 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 da. You know, but no one was buying into my drama.
But you also, from your description of it, your reaction was like, yes, you were mortified, but you just turned and said, excuse me, and carried on. Like, what else you could do? There's nothing else you could do.
What else could I do? It echoed through the whole sound system. But I do remember someone saying to me, if you ever fall off stage being a speaker, put your hand in the air with the lapel with your mic and just say, I'm taking questions from the floor. And I remember that, and that is stuck in my head. I've never fallen off a stage, but if I do, just put your mic up and say that. And I just thought that is a great one, because people fearful, like this is what you say to speakers. Oh, what if I fell off the stage? In how many years I've done this and stood on many stages, I've never fallen off a stage. But okay, here you go. Here's a strategy. Yep. So that's stuck to my head. I've gone, oh, if I ever fall off stage, if a fear comes in and goes, fall off stage, taking questions from the floor, and only the front couple of people will just see the mic go up. But it's just a great way to.
No, that's a really good way to just own it. And that's the thing. It's just own it. Because one thing, I know we're almost out of time, or we probably are out of time.
Yeah,
but one example for me, I remember I was giving a presentation. I was the speaker, and I did have a microphone, but I was talking about something that was very emotional. And I'd practiced this talk a number of times. I was like, good. But as I went into like the last few minutes, I burst into tears.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, and I could feel myself being mortified. It's like, there's like 200 people there, and oh my God.
I laugh because I know. Did you get the snot come out your nose and blow bubbles?
Not quite. Okay, it wasn't quite that much. But you know what? The realization as I came off the stage, and the feedback that I got was I held all of those people in the emotion. And somebody said that you could hear a pin drop. There's, like I said, 200 people, and everybody is like, oh my God, I took them all the way into this emotion, and they felt it.
Yeah.
But so me, I'm walking around like you. I want somebody to tell me, well, speakers don't burst out crying.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they do. But it's about having a loving relationship with you. Is sometimes you're in public and you're speaking, and sometimes you cry, and sometimes you belch, and it's part of being a human, right?
Yeah, it's that loving relationship is live your life for you, not for others.
That's right. And show up authentically and tell yourself the truth.
Yeah.
Always tell yourself the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't have lied if someone said to me, was that you burped? No. Did I hear you burp? No. No?
Yeah, couldn't have lied there.
No. Oh, wow. So do you have a loving relationship with you? So did we flow? Did we not flow? At the start. Thank you for joining us, everybody, today, because I really thoroughly enjoyed.
I loved this one. I thought I love the areas that we went into. I feel like
there was definitely a lot of foundational blocks that were very different. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I trust that you got a pen and paper and you wrote things down, people.
Oh, I hope you did. I never told you to do that. Whoops, that's my bad.
I forget that.
I do too.
Yeah, I forget that too. And then 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, oh, even though I've got my pen and I'm jotting down things for me to do later in the day, like awareness, possibilities, That's what I'm writing down. Like, be aware of that. So, in saying that, Moira was a 1.5. I was a 1. Mm-hmm. Whatever listeners you were, we're just going to check in now with you to what number you are now. Moira, what would you be?
I'd be a 0.
Same.
I knew you would be.
I feel a little bit more alive from that. What you can't see, anybody, is I've got 2 dogs sitting at my window going, can you let me in? No, No, I've had a loving relationship with you, and right now I'm loving you even more being outside my room.
The other side of that glass.
Yeah, that's it. So we'd love to know what number you were to what number you've jumped into. That would be inspiring.
And let us know, do you have a loving relationship with you?
Is there anything that you do or don't do that's different?
Yeah. And if you need some help or some support, some ideas on how to actually step into this idea of loving yourself.
If you want someone with wind blown hair, or someone who burps into a microphone, we're both here for you. Or someone who's got 2 dimples, we're both here for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Moira who cries when she presents. Yeah. Yep. Deborah who burps when she presents.
But we love ourselves and you.
Oh, you can't. And look, that's part of being authentic, because do I have a loving relationship with myself? Yeah, I have burped in public.
Yep.
Through the microphone. Yeah.
Yep.
And am I okay with that? I have to be.
Yep.
Otherwise, that's the stuff that could stop you from presenting ever again.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So we'd love to know what you thought of it. That would be amazing. Thank you very much. And thank you, Moira. That's our deliciously motivated mindset with Debz and Moira signing off for the day.
Sounds
for
awesome.
The podcast.
Thank you, listeners. Thanks, dear Deb.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.